So now it's time for a more lighthearted segment, a Here's Why That's Bullshit. So in these segments, we try to take a popular talking point from, often the right, but sometimes the left, and give you a few quick-hitting pieces of information so that you can break down for your friends and family and people all around you exactly why that's bullshit. So Nathan, what are we breaking down today?
Well, you see, Michael, institutional racism, structural racism in the United States, it doesn't exist anymore. Now,
Oh, wow.
It used to exist. It absolutely used to exist. All right. Obviously, slavery happened, and that created a lot of disadvantages for black people.
Mm-hmm.
And Jim Crow existed, and that created disadvantages for black people. However, at this point, it's been over 150 years since we've had slavery, and it's been over 50 years since the Civil Rights Act. And we see so many cases of successful black people, rich black people, black people in politics. We had a black president. We have black people on the Supreme Court. Like, at this point, you cannot look at the United States and honestly say that there is still institutional racism. And in fact, the claims of institutional racism are often used to trick black people into voting for Democrats when Democrats are just trying to make people lazy by creating programs that, that keep them at home and keep them doing nothing. So here's why that's bullshit.
So Nathan, if structural racism doesn't exist, why are you twice as likely to live in poverty if you're black?
Huh.
So yeah, ultimately,
that's the big thing here.
Yeah.
Like, as we talked about this a little bit earlier in our segment when we were talking about affirmative action, but as I pointed out, according to the Kaiser Family Foundation, 21.7% of black people live below the poverty line in the United States versus 9.5% of white people. Now, if you look at that, there's only two possible ways that you could explain that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Either A, the reason that happens is because there is some type of structural racism that is making it so that people who are born into a black family or a black community have less opportunities, and therefore structural racism does exist. Or B, we live in a perfect meritocracy, and there is just something inherently biologically inferior about black people that make them more likely to not succeed as much. Now, if you believe in that second one, congratulations, you're racist.
Slam fucking dunk. That's the thing.
Honestly,
even if
so
someone
simple.
comes back to you and says, "Yeah, but what about, couldn't it be culture?"
What creates culture?
Yeah, exactly. Structure, societal structures, history. Yeah. Context, exactly. That's what forms culture. It's either structural, it's either history, in which case we have a clear obligation to, as the society and as people of privilege and power, to correct it, or it's racist.
Yeah.
There's it seems deceptively simple, but it's really just those two things.
Yeah, and I would even like to point out that, sometimes you do often see conservatives try to say, oh, well, it's the liberal policies of welfare that are keeping black people in poverty. So you do believe in structural racism.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Because if you're making that argument, you're making the argument that, yes, black people are disadvantaged, and it's because of these policies, you are making an argument that is acknowledging that structural racism exists.
Yeah.
Which means that you need to come up with a better, like, if you're going to say that, then you need to come up with a policy for eliminating that. Mm-hmm. And we can have a discussion about what that policy should be. Fine. That's fine. Yeah. We can discuss that. But you still have to acknowledge that, yes, it does exist.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why that's bullshit.